Going live. Okay, it's Friday, which means snooze and beer, right? But this Friday is not the same as every other Friday because I managed to pick up my Slovenian rifle, the Perun X16, 18-inch one in 300 blackout. I can't show it on a stream because you're not allowed to show stuff like that on streams on YouTube. Cool. But I can talk a little bit about it and show some pictures. Let's see here, who's with us? Hitch, Carl, Viking 1 is with us from the start this time. Plop, Niklas, the normal Carl, Daisy, Arfat, normal citizen, Jehovnas, that's an interesting name. Mr. D. Pajao something, 6, C-Storm 215. Normal citizen wants to know if the Mossberg 590 with a 20-inch barrel is any good. Just get a shorter barrel. Well, it's a pump action rifle, so you can only have 2 shots in the mag. But Mossberg 590 is always going to be a Mossberg 590. It's one of the best pump actions. The Remington 870 is, I guess, another thing to consider. But the Mossberg 590 is good, and it has Swedish heritage, I guess, with the Mossberg logo, with the Swedish flag on it and all that good stuff. I believe the original owner actually spoke like shitty English because he was mainly speaking Swedish or something. I remember seeing some interview with him. Mr. D. Pajo says, New Ganda is picking up his Ruger MPR 556. Good for you, that's nice. Andrea Bengtsson is with us. Andrea Bengtsson. And Björn. Right, let's have a quick look at the news, I guess. So this one is quite fun. The Swedish police is doing more negligent discharges lately. 40% more compared to previous years, which still is kind of sucky. The previous years as well. So now they're 40% worse handling firearms. So usually it is apparently during training, and they basically have to requalify to get the new Glock 17s. I think it's the 17 they use. Glock 17 Gen 5, is it? I don't remember. But I know the distributor of Glock in Sweden, so I think that's what they're using. So if you haven't fired a Glock, it doesn't have a safety acceptance trigger. So if you're doing stupid things with the trigger, it's going to go boom. If you're not touching the trigger, it won't go boom. So unless you're a retard, you have one in the chamber and a full mag in it, which means it will go boom when you fuck with the trigger. That's the way Glock work. It's a really good service handgun, good accuracy, shitty trigger, and the police obviously can't handle it. 40% more negligent discharges. That's stupid. But apparently most of them are at the shooting ranges, but still, how hard can it be? Just don't put your finger inside a trigger guard. How hard is it? Yeah, so these people are supposed to be open carrying firearms on the streets, in the cars, on the office, wherever they are. And that's not good. They're retards. A friend of mine went to the police academy here in Sweden, and he stopped going. He basically resigned from it because every other pupil in the police academy was a fucking retard. So he just said, I'm never gonna want to work with people like this. They are like kindergarten levels of IQ. So he just fucked off. And I've heard the same story from another person going through the police academy. That guy finished it. This was filled with politically correct bullshit and literal retards doing the so-called education. And I'm friends with police officers that's handling the qualifications with the handguns. It's a super simple thing. You draw and you fire from 7 meters, and you're gonna hit basically an IPSC target. I think it's 7 shots or something. And you have a certain amount of time to do that, and it's quite generous. and one of the stupidest stories I heard was two female police officers that they couldn't pull the trigger. I don't know what the weight of the trigger is on a service handgun. I think it has some variant of the SIG handgun before, and they couldn't pull the trigger with both trigger fingers. That's how weak they were. And how the fuck can people like that finish a police academy? Don't they have some kind of requirements? It's even worse than that old US comedy police academy 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. That film was a joke, and this is reality in Sweden. It's even worse in Sweden. It's also like Islamists, criminals, all manner of strange people manage to infiltrate the police this way. So I have zero confidence in the police. What I'm saying is also that even how bad it is now, it's going to get much worse in the future. The little monopoly on violence the police believes they have, it's already gone, but it's going to be even more gone in the next 5-10 years or whatever. So if this batch is so shit, the next one is going to be worse. And they're lowering the requirements as well. So anyway, this is the level of bullshit. Some police officer took a shit at a gas station or whatever, and forgot his holster with his gun on the floor. How do you even manage that? Those things are heavy on your hip. You kind of wanna do the little hand dance when you're leaving the house or leaving the shitter. Make sure you have your keys and your gun, especially your gun, with you. I always check that shit myself. Something can fall out of the pocket if you're sitting down and taking a shit or something. You never know. Yeah, so this is a regular occurrence. I always point it out when I see a news like this, but this happens so many times. It's ridiculous. And if that were me, they would have just picked up my guns, and I wouldn't be able to own guns anymore. But one law for them, another law for us, right? So this is the gun I got. This is the actual gun. So it's a Perun X16. Well, it's a... not sure if you can see it. I just put some random magazine I found in a forest. This is the Swedish military magazine, the 5.56 mag. Obviously, since it's 300 blackout, it will fit in the mag well. But this is an extremely shitty magazine, so please ignore that magazine. It has this Magpul Masada folding stock on it, which is extremely comfortable. It might look kind of club footish, but it's much better than the Scar 17. So it's obviously foldable, since this one doesn't have a buffer tube. And it's extendable as well, and you can regulate this one, the cheek riser as well. So what comes with the rifle is these iron sights. So I put a fancy Holosun optic red dot on it, put a suppressor on it, and a little vertical foregrip, and that's pretty much what I'm done with it. It does have a mil-spec trigger, so it's not fancy, the trigger. It breaks clean, but it's heavy, and it has a little bit of trigger travel, so you won't do any super fast double taps with that trigger. I might change the trigger. We'll see what I do. So the fun part about this is a regular AR-15 lower, but it's cut off here, where it usually goes up with a buffer tube. But other than that, it's a regular AR-15 lower, regular AR-15 trigger group, regular AR-15 controls. So this is the charging handle. So you just pull it back, and then when it's back here, you can reach this knob here to lock the bolt back with your thumb. It's pretty ergonomic. So it goes just enough back, so even me with average hands can hit the bolt lock. So you just pull it back and push it down. It's really easy, and you can change this from left hand to right hand, and it's non-reciprocating as well. It's kind of visible here. There's a gas tube that goes back here, and here is like something similar to a Scar 17 bolt carrier, but it is an AR-15 bolt, regular AR-15 bolt, and the gas stops here. There's a little tiny piston, and there's a bunch of springs and stuff. I'll make a thorough video with this, but this is an 8-inch barrel, so the handguard here is quite short. There's not enough room to put anything fancy here, but if you have like a 14-inch barrel, 5.56 or something, this one will continue forward a bit. You can put a light or IR light or a PEC or something in front here, and it won't obstruct the view, so you don't have to use those stupid solutions people have with super high risers or whatever. And if you really want to do this kind of shooting, well, I don't know. Use your imagination. It's a really fancy rifle. So the reason I got this was, first of all, I know the designer of it. I've been visiting him in Slovenia. I met him at IWA fair in Nuremberg and stuff like that. So I really enjoy the design of it and the functioning of it, and it shoots really well. Oh, by the way, it's a regular AR-15 barrel and a trunnion as well. And yeah, the gas tube is, you have to shorten the gas tube a little bit if you want to buy a new gas tube, but that's not a big deal. So it's super compatible with AR-15. All the important parts like bolt and barrel is compatible. So those are the things that you're going to break or shoot out. Well, the gas tube as well. But those are totally replaceable with AR-15 parts. So even if you buy this and the company disappears in a year, you can still use this forever because AR-15 compatible, right? So you can change the lower, etc. as well if you want to do something fancy with it. And if you want to have a lower that has a bunch of extra controls or whatever, buy something like that and put it on, just shop it in the rear. Yeah. So let's have a look at the web page. So here you can see one with a little longer barrel. They have basically any caliber you can want. 308 as well. I shot the 308 version. You can see a bunch of different configurations. I like this stock, but you can put a buffer tube with a folder on it as well. It has a bunch of sling points as well. Forgot to mention that. So here you can see how it actually looks when you're firing it. So gas tube stops there, and then yeah, it has a little bit of a delayed. It has a spring here as well, both back and front. So it has a tiny bit of spring action going on there, so it eats up a little bit of the recoil. Same as that fancy AK the Russians have. They have a civilian version of it, never went into military production. That has springs on both ends of the bolt carrier. Yeah, here you can see the 308 version. That would be a super fun hunting rifle, I can imagine. Looks nice. So you can basically configure these bad boys any way you like. That is a very short barrel version. Not sure what that is. 8-inch is enough for a 300 blackout. So this is a really nice one if you want to have a compact small 300 blackout or 5.56 or something, if you can get it on a sport shooting license in Sweden, because it can fold the stock and it's really nice. The fit and finish is super nice. It's comparable to Brigger and Tomet or something. So I can really recommend it. Standard threading on everything. I just unthreaded the muzzle brake it came with, put on my Ultra muzzle brake and put on the suppressor. So it's standard American threading on the barrel, for example. So yeah, nice shit. So let's see what Chad is saying about all my... let's see, I have to scroll up a bit. Oh, Swiss Hunters. Hello. It's called Switzerland. I'm considering going to Switzerland because some friends of mine in Switzerland is planning on having some machine gun meets. But I have to basically tell them when I'm coming, and then they'll organize it. That'll be fun. I think, did I go to Switzerland last year? I don't remember. Was it a year before? No, it was in 2022. Shit, I better go to Switzerland this year. It was a while since I visited my friends in Switzerland. Lovely country, love it there. Hello, Hans. David. Arafat says, but the Glock is so easy to use. Yes, it is, but yeah. Viking 1 has been carrying a Glock for 14 years and didn't do anything stupid with it. Yeah. So, Seastorm 215 wants to know what my dream gun laws are. Well, all gun laws are stupid. Unfortunately, there are stupid people. But I view guns as tools, and any tool can be used to do stupid shit with. A car. There's a famous, what's it? I don't remember the comedian's name, but he has this joke about you're driving your car, and you see a bus station with 20 people on it, and a psychopath will steer into it and kill a bunch of people, but a functioning psychopath will just think about it and then not do it. Something like that. It's funny when he says it, not when I say it. My point is, anyone can just turn the wheel a couple of degrees and then they're a murderer. You don't need a gun to do that. A car can be even more practical in that case. And that's what happened when a terrorist struck Stockholm back in, was it 2017? I don't remember which year it was, maybe earlier. He stole a truck and drove through one of the tourist streets in Stockholm and did a bunch of assholery stuff. Usually you need to have a certain religion to be able to do that. What else are we saying? Yeah, Mr. Erebus Darkness says one of the misfires by the police was a shotgun that was turned into the police and the officer shot it into a wall. Yeah. One of the first things you do when you grab a gun from someone else is you check the chamber. View it, put a finger in it, whatever you need to do to make sure nothing's in it. Obviously don't have a magazine in it or shit like that. One of my favorite idiot moments from a police officer was with an MP5. The police officer locked back the bolt, viewed the chamber. Oh, the chamber is empty, but he had a magazine, filled magazine in it. Smacked the HK slap on the bolt and was gonna dry fire it, and of course it's gonna fire because he just fed around into the chamber from the filled magazine. The retard. Don't have a filled magazine in it when you do shit like that, and don't even dry fire it when you can. So if you dry fire a rifle, like to do at IPSC competitions or whatever, you point, even in the IPSC competitions, you take your handgun or whatever rifle firearm you're using, and you point it in a safe direction when you dry fire, like the berm. And that's impossible to do when you're indoors or something. So never do that shit. Oh my god. Mongrat says, I have a friend whose brother is a cop, told none of the girls could pull the trigger on the P226, so they ended up sending the guns to the gunsmith for a trigger job. How hard can it be? I can't imagine people being that weak. Well, I think one of the things you need to be able to do when you're a police officer is actually pulling the trigger on your gun. Oh, god damn it. So Viking 1 is getting an MP5 at work, that's cool. Almost like a Bren or no, this is if you're talking about the Perun X17, it's nothing like a Bren. Kind of looks similar to it, but most modern guns looks the same now. The Bren works. The Bren is a complete piston rifle. It's not compatible at all with the AR-15. Perhaps the magazines are Stanag. But that's pretty much it. Our fault says my old job gets new toys. DD4. Well, Daniel Defense is good shit. Expensive but good shit. How about spare parts such as springs? Yeah, well, you can always buy spare parts. Right when you buy the rifle. Springs is a wear item. You're correct. So I might need to buy me some springs. I need to check that if it's. You can always have springs made for you as well, but you probably want the original ones, so you know exactly what you need. Isn't it in an X16? The X17 is 308. Is that true? I need to check that. Well, let's see here. Well, you're correct. It's the X16. The X17 is 308. Well, my mistake. It's the X16. Well, easy mistake to make, I guess. You are correct, Tobias. It's the X16. So you can get it in free on Blackout, 6 ARC, 6.5 Grendel, 762x39, etc. Oh, 223 or 5x6, of course. I didn't know you can get it in 762x39 though. Mark Serbo is having lunch at Hooters. Well, Mark Serbo, have a good look at the Hooters from me then. Cheers, Mark. Do they have Hooters in Sweden? Well, on the chests of females, perhaps, but I don't think that particular restaurant would ever work in Sweden, unfortunately. No Hooters in Sweden. That's what it is. We do have clubs that likes to take money out of idiots' pockets. That's probably comparable to Hooters. We call them porn clubs, but that's probably not that much porn. It's just good-looking women wearing not that much clothes, trying to get you to buy expensive drinks. I don't know anyone who's ever gone to a club like that. Must be a really sad person going there. Anyone in EU selling AR pistols? Mostly we don't need to make them pistols with stupid what's it called, shoulder braces and shit like that, like you do in the US. The SBR laws are very different here. In Sweden we don't have anything like that. That's why I can get an 8-inch barrel on my Perun and not worry about a thing. It's only for rifles that are bought under a hunting license that you have to have 18-inch barrels. If you're worried about, did my stream just die? No? Okay, I'm back. Anyway, so if you're worried about the length of the barrel, just buy a bullpup. I talked to Action Reaction Sports, Anton there, and he sold a bunch of Steyr AUGs for hunting. And I fondled one of them, and it was the modern one with a rail and top. You can put whatever optic you want on it. Even with a 20-inch barrel, the Steyr AUG is super compact. So so it's not a big deal. If you're really worried about the length of the rifle for hunting, buy a bullpup. Yeah, I'm looking forward to hunting with a Ruger AR-10. Hopefully I get to see a moose. Also I ordered an optic for it. I still only have a red dot on it. I'm going to the range tomorrow, hopefully, so I can do some video with it. But and Perun X16. But I only have a red dot on it, as I said. The optic I ordered was Primary Arms 1-6 with that fancy ballistic compensation reticule, like a ring and a little chevron in the middle and a little mini Christmas tree beneath it. And it's going to work fine for 308, 300 blackout, all the good stuff. And I think they have an app for it as well, where you can type in your caliber and your exit velocity and what reticule you have, and then it will tell you the holdover points. I ordered the optic from Action Reaction Sports, so I can show you which one I'm getting. So I always said I'm going to get an LPVO, and so this is the one. So it's not that expensive for this. I talked to Primary Arms last year in IWA, and it's Japanese glass, which is pretty good, and it's probably made. They put parts together in the Philippines, I guess. And yeah, it's pretty good for this. The Japanese glass is really nice. So it's 1x6. I don't need more for hunting. And this is can I see that picture? This is how the sight looks. So if you're at 1x magnification, it's basically a red dot. If you zoom in, you can see this. So if you go to 6x magnification, you can take a good shot at 300 meters, and I guess the holdover will be around here, about there. So I'll try to do some long range shooting with it just for the fun of it, at least out to 500 meters, half a kilometer, and see what kind of accuracy I can get at that distance. But yeah, we'll see. So this is probably going to be a good optic for my hunting purposes. So just so I know the holdovers for the distances I would shoot a moose at, which is up to 300 meters with a 308. So that's going to be nice. Marcus got a X95 from Action Sports. That's nice. Knight wants to know, don't you have a 30 centimeter, 60 centimeter length rule in Sweden to differentiate long guns and short guns? No, we don't have those rules. We have a very bizarre interpretation of the Firearms Directive from the European Union. Many countries have a bunch of length rules. It comes from the Firearms Directive that they implemented way back. But we don't really give a shit about that. We put in some stupid rules about magazines. So if you want to own a magazine that is above 10 rounds for a rifle or above 20 rounds for a handgun, then you have to have a license for a firearm for that those magazines can fit. So if you want to have like a regular size 30 round magazine for your AR-15, then you first have to own an AR-15 legally in Sweden. So if you just want to have it for the fun of it, or you're collecting, or you're an airsofter or whatever, that's not good anymore. But if you actually own an AR-15 legally, then you can buy whatever you want, buy a drum mag or whatever. Same with suppressors. If you have a firearm, fine, go and buy whatever suppressor you want for that firearm. Nitrous people have asked me if they can buy an AR shotgun in Sweden. Yeah, if you can get it on a sport shooting license. If you get it on a hunting license, it has to have 18 inches barrel. Juvna says, what do you think about the Norwegian gun laws? I think they're shit. Minimum 16-inch barrel, total length of 43 inches, 84 centimeters. Yeah, that's shit. That's ridiculous. Norway has some bullshit gun laws. I'm not super familiar with them. At least they used to have like a list of guns you could own on a sport shooting license, like AR-15 or whatever. Nordan says VHS2 or AUG. AUG because Die Hard, and it's a Christmas movie. VHS2 if you like the design, I guess. The trigger on the VHS2 is worse than the AUG according to me. But I fiddle with my trigger on my AUG, so it's quite okay right now. But yeah, the VHS2 is not bad. But a modern AUG, I think it's cooler than the VHS2 because of the barrel change system. They changed the law in Austria now. It used to be that the AUGs, the civilian AUGs you can buy, you couldn't change the barrel on it. They didn't have the quick barrel change system. But now, after like last year or the year before perhaps, I don't remember, they changed it so you can swap the barrels from factory. And the old AUGs can buy a little kit that's not that expensive, so you can change it so you can change your barrel. It doesn't take long to implement a little button on the side, so you take the forward vertical foregrip and you push a little button and you twist it and then you just pull it out. It's like a belt-fed machine gun or something. It's super fast to change the barrel, and just that function makes it super worth it to have an AUG according to me. Plus I think it looks cool. That 70s 60s design, it still kicks ass. The VHS 2, it's not a bad looking gun, but the length of pull just doesn't work for me. But I don't believe it is a bad gun though. So it's just up to personal preference which one you would like. Björn says, love ARS, too bad they tend to be swamped with jobs, but definitely good people. Yeah, I know both of the people working there since long time before they started the company together. And they're good people, and they really love what they're doing. And I visited them and I picked up the Perun. And yeah, no kidding, they're swamped with work. They deserve a lot of work. They're moving to a bigger place now. It's like you can hardly move inside of where they're working right now because they have so much shit going on. But yeah, they're moving to a bigger place. They just have to find the time to move all the stuff. I think it's being renovated right now, the new place, but they're getting, I think they're gonna have an actual store after that as well. I'm not sure. So, but yeah, ARS is really nice. Yeah, Viking one, buy that kit. Marcus says, bullpups suffer in the trigger compartment, but they're great aftermarket ones for the AUG and X95. Yeah, the AUG has, so it's totally plastic trigger in the AUG. You can just pull it out. It's super easy. And you can exchange some parts for metal parts that has a surface treatment on them, so they're super slick. And that will help the trigger immensely. But there's one thing you can do with the AUG. If you remove everything from it, so you just have the plastic shell and the little trigger. The plastic trigger is connected to a little fork kind of deal, fork that goes like this, just a metal rod. And the top part, that's where the trigger is, you have a little set screw, so you unscrew it a little bit, then you can move the fork backwards and forward over the trigger. So what you do there, you change the trigger pull. So what I did is I have the minimum amount of trigger pulls. I just have to touch the trigger basically to fire. For me, that's really good. The downside of doing that is that it's super easy to bump fire that thing. If anyone other than me fires it, except one or two people who's ever tried it, they're gonna fire full auto because the trigger reset is non-existent. So if you're not firm with your trigger pull, you're pulling the trigger correctly, then it's gonna, the little bit of recoil you're gonna feel from it is gonna make the trigger jump on your finger, and then you're going to shoot another shot as fast as possible. So I only ever put 2 rounds in the magazine when a new person is going to try my AUG. And 99 times out of 100 they're going to shoot both of those shots immediately. It's super ridiculous. Jovna says it's hard to get 2 years in the same club and 10 public competitions. That's for rifle. Yeah, that's IPSC. The Swedish Dynamic Sports Shooting Federation and IPSC federations made up a bunch of bullshit rules that's way harsher than the law actually demands. The law says you have to be a member of a shooting club for a half a year, and that's it for buying an AR-15, like an 8-inch AR-15, whatever. So you're in a shooting club that has free gevär or free rifle or whatever. They're basically their own rule book, like my club does. So if my members have been active and are not assholes and been part of the club for at least six months, they can buy whatever the fuck they want. But yeah, if you're going through the IPSC Federation, be prepared to throw money after them. IPSC Federation in Sweden is basically a pyramid scheme. Multi-level marketing something. My favorite was when some previous board members stole several million Swedish krona from the IPSC Federation. Oh, I have so many stories about assholes stealing money and being basically criminals in that shooting sport. Mr. Pajo says, when I picked up my Ruger at Armor Sports, the guy said that his friend got a 50 BMG on a hunting license. Yeah, I know. So I'm getting the not the 50 BMG version, but a 6.5 or 55 version of Mark Serbo's silly little. Let's see. I'll show a picture of it. Find his page. There we go. Is it the RN-50? It's called Serbu RN-50. So this bad boy. Yeah. So you can see there. It's interesting. You unscrew this back plug, put in the cartridge, screw it back, and then fire it. I'm getting this in 6.5 by 55 Swedish, but I can just unscrew the barrel and put in a 50 BMG barrel. So what I'm considering doing now is getting this rifle, doing long range shooting with this just because I can. With the 6.5 by 55, it's going to be hilarious. Might do some hilarious stuff like making it integrally suppressed or something with a 6.5 by 55, just blinging it out, just having it as a project rifle, and then get a 50 BMG barrel for it as well. We'll see what I do. But apparently you can get 50s on a hunting license in Sweden now, so there is that. Yeah, I've heard about the guy who got a 50 BMG on a hunting license. Marcus says, legendary full diaper experience if you're not ready for it. Yeah, I've shot a 50 several times, and yeah, there's some shit happens when you fire a 50. The Noble Carl wants to know, is an AR that's 5.56 ready better than one that just shoots 2 to 3? If SHTF, what's the best choice? Well, the best choice is whatever you have at hand, if you actually need that for that purpose, I guess. But if you want to be compatible with the military in the future, get an AR-10, because our military is going to use 308 going forward, apparently. So they're going to get a SACO AR-10, most of them. Some of them is still going to use a 5.56 version of that rifle. But yeah, mostly I would get a 308 if you're going to be SHTF ready or whatever. Yeah, so the bear wants to know if a Barrett 50 would be allowed. Yeah, if you get a 5-round mag for it, sure. Mr. Paggio says, isn't that one of those that Kentucky ballistics got blown up? Yeah, it is. It is. And the reason he got it blown up, that's actually the reason I know Mark Serbu, is because I put out a video right after that happened and explained what actually happened. So what actually happened was it was a hot load in the round. So I did all the calculations and everything, and that's what happened. Later, they actually did try it with another RN-50 with the exact same type of cartridge, and it blew up as well, and it did fire other cartridges fine. So yeah, what actually happened was the speed of the gunpowder, actually some kind of really fine pistol powder. So the pressure curve was immediate. So as soon as it ignited, the pressure curve was so fast that basically the rifle exploded before the bullet even exited the barrel. The bullet basically traveled a little bit, and then everything exploded. It's so fast. So the 50 BMG can handle a lot of pressure, but it has extremely slow burning gunpowder, the slowest of them all basically. But if you have something that's extremely fast burning in that volume that a 50 cartridge has, yeah, you have a pipe bomb. That's what you have, and that's what happened to Kentucky ballistics. So yeah, after that, me and Mark started mailing each other and talk ballistics, and I helped him get all the data he needed to make sure it wasn't actually his product's fault. So after that, they did some Kentucky ballistics started blowing up guns when they figured out after what I told them happened. Blood Eagle says the military might have changed their mind to 5.56. Okay, well, it's not actually a bad choice. 5.56 has been working fine for them for a long time. So the home guard is going 5.56 on everything. Okay, and the rest of the military as well. Well, as I said, it's probably not a bad choice. I already have a 5.56 AR-50. So I changed my answer to you need both an AR-15 and an AR-10. Why choose if you can have both, right? Buy the 5.56 one first. Well, to be fair, buy a wild chamber, because that is optimized for both 2 to 3 and 5.56. so you don't have to choose. So why choose if you can have both, right? Wild chamber, W-I-L-D-E. Yeah, Daisy Cutter says it as well in chat. Right. Almost out of beer, people. Any thoughts on 6.8 by 51? No, I don't think I'll ever use that caliber. Not unless it gets extremely popular. You basically can't reload the fancy rounds. Without using the really hot fancy rounds with a steel bottom, it's a shitty 308. So the practice round version of it is just regular copper cartridges. So they can't load them as hot. So the gimmick with the 6.8 by 51 is that it has a special reinforced cartridge that can handle more pressure. So you what is it they have, like 13-14 inches barrel, something like that, and then you can still have such a high pressure curve because of that new cartridge, so you can push the speed super fast. The thing is, you'll burn the barrels really fast. So what they're doing is, anytime they're not at war, most of the time when they're practicing, they're using shitty ammo, and that's not going to perform really well. It's like having a short barrel 308 or something, which is a fancy flamethrower, and then when you have the fancy round, it's going to do good shit. But EOTech versus Aimpoint. EOTech if you're planning to doing night vision all the time, Aimpoint in any other case. Aimpoint works with night vision as well though. But EOTech, or if you have astigmatism and red dots just doesn't work for you, get an EOTech as well. Otherwise, EOTech has shitty battery life, shitty functions. Same with Aimpoint. I would just buy a Holosun if I'm going red dots. I don't care if it's Chinese stuff, and I'm supporting the communist dictatorship there. I just think Holosun is better than Aimpoint at this point. Jordan says, my bet is that militaries will just add more designated marksmen with 308 or 6.8 or 6.5. They'll not get rid of 5.56. Too much infrastructure for ammo production. That is true, and that would be the better choice according to me as well. At least one designated marksman per group. James says, I lived in Sweden for 5 years, never going back. Well, good for you. Björn says, all the AK-5s or FNFNCs will be thrown away. They're totally out. Yeah, I know. The Home Guard is getting new shit. That's good, that's good. Home Guard could use some new shit. Throw away those old AK-4s. I'm out of beer. Well, those old AK-4s probably work better than the AK-5s in 5.56. Well, they're totally broken down. The barrels are shot out and all that. They're not even good enough to send to Ukraine. So I would... most of the AK-5s I would just throw away. The military has thrown away a lot of stuff during the years. Viking 1 can tell you about that. But, yeah. Anyway, I'm out of beer. And out of topics to discuss this week. So, you guys have a good weekend. And remember to have a fun time at the shooting range. Right. Skål. Tjingeling.